Hello and welcome to another video. So in this video I really want to show you my dog adoption application that I built in Ruby on Rails. I've been spending a lot of time building this application and as you've probably noticed, I haven't been posting videos that often. It's been super busy, and finally I'm getting around to showing you what this application looks like, at least from the user experience perspective and some of the functionality around it. I'd like to go over in another video or series of videos the code base for this application, so stay tuned for those. But this is what the site looks like. Before we jump into this, I just want to quickly show you the GitHub repo, just so you have an idea of where that is if you want to go and have a look at things. So my username on here is CasaGuyGene. Don't ask me where that comes from. And the name of the project is Baja Pet Rescue. And here's the repo with a fairly comprehensive README. If you are interested in this, I do go over some details like what the problem was, what the solution that I came up was, the features for the application, things that I'm working on, the gems and installs that the application is using. If you want to contribute, some guidelines around that, setting it up locally, and then running the test coverage as well. So we do have some contributors to this project, which has been really great working with people, because there's only so much you can do yourself, and this is a great experience for anyone especially anyone who's getting into Rails and learning how to navigate an application and provide contributions. And these contributors have been amazing to work with, like I said, so really enjoying that. We're at almost 600 commits, so it's a busy project. And I've been working on this personally since I think June of 2022, and the site went live on mid to late November 2022. So we've been going, let's say 8, maybe 10 to 11 weeks now, and we've had 23 dog adoptions, which has been fantastic, and 75 users signed up. So from that perspective, my goal was 1 dog adopted through this website would have been a win. The fact that we have 23 in such a short amount of time is just amazing. I'm so happy that the site is adding value in the real world. And anyway, let's take a look at the site and what it looks like. So this is the production website. It's hosted on Heroku using a PostgreSQL database, and it's on their hobby tier, basically their low-end cheapest tier possible, which is doing, for this site, it's fine because it's such a low volume site. And this is what it looks like. So it's styled in Bootstrap, and we have the nav bar up here with some links and account buttons. We have this hero here with a quick description of what the outfit does, and a button to look at the dogs. We have a section that tells you how to, basically 4 steps on how to apply for an adoption to make it easy. Someone lands here, they want to know, okay, so what do I actually have to do? So we broke it down into 4 simple steps. We provided some about us information. So this is Danielle, the person who runs the organization. And these are some extra links about additional information. And then we have a CTA at the bottom saying, okay, sign up, create an account now. If you want to look at the website, it is https://www.bahapetrescue.com. And if you want to look at the dogs, so these are all the real live dogs here that need a home, and there's 15 of them. This is the slowest the site's actually been in responding when I'm filming a video. That's classic. So here are all the cute little dogs, real dogs right now in the Baja, Mexico, that need a home. So if you're watching this video and you're also thinking, or someone who's thinking about adopting a dog, please check out this website. These dogs are awesome. The Danielle and her outfit are amazing to work with. Very relaxed, down to earth, and easy to communicate with. And I have a dog from these guys, and she's great. I wouldn't have it any other way. So these are all the dogs who need a home. And it's been really great to see little faces come up on here and then disappear because they've been adopted. Just knowing that the people that are adopting the dog are going to have a great time, and the dog is finding a new and better life. Because a lot of these dogs, they wouldn't make it if they were left down there. They're usually left to die. So it's great to give them that second chance. Okay, and we have some additional links, so an About Us, an FAQ, some partner information and how to donate. We have a contact form here, which basically it's just a basic mailer that sends an email to the staff to let them know that somebody's asking a question, and create an account or log in. So authentication here is done with Devise. So if you want to create an account, there's this progress tracker here to let you know that there's basically 3 steps to create an account. So you select your account if you're an adopter or staff. Most people are adopters. Then there's a couple minutes just to create the account, and then it's about 10 minutes or so to complete your profile, which I'll show you in a minute. But as you can see here, as you click here, it progresses, and you fill out your email, first name, last name, password, etc. And then you go on to fill out your adopter profile. But I'm not going to do that on the production website, and by all means play around on this site. I'd rather people weren't signing up with just fake accounts or throwaway accounts. If you do that, that's okay. What you can actually do is sign up, and then under your user settings, you can actually delete your account. So I'll show you where that is. So here's the production site, and on your account settings here, you can actually edit user settings, and if you type goodbye in this box, you can actually delete your account. So that's one thing you could do, but it's way better to clone this repo and play around with it to your heart's content locally, because then you'll get to see both the adopter side of the site and the staff side of the site. And so now we're actually in the site. We are looking at an adopter user, and so what they have is a profile here, which is this form that they get to fill out. If I hit edit profile, this is what the form looks like. This is the 3rd step in the sign up process that you saw. It's just a whole load of questions here about what kind of dog you're after, what kind of experience you have, where you live, what your house is like, is it set up for a dog, and then some additional details. The thing that I really wanted to achieve here was I tried to adopt my dog during the pandemic, and I dealt with many different organizations and websites, and what I found really frustrating was I had to fill out an application for every single dog that I applied to adopt for. That takes a lot of time, there's a lot of duplication, it's rather unnecessary. So with this, what I wanted to achieve was the ability to fill out one profile and then be able to use that profile to apply for multiple dogs, just to save time basically, and any kind of friction. So that's what this does achieve. And once you, let's say you're interested in a dog, there's no actual pictures here because this is just production with seed data and I didn't put pictures in. But what you can do, you can see an application's been submitted on this dog. Let's find one where there hasn't been an application submitted. So right here, usually there would be pictures here which would push all of this div down, and there'd be more of a description. Over here we have some template copy that just talks about the adoption process, kind of put it up front and center before people click that apply to adopt button. When they click that, okay, it says the application's been submitted. Now in development, the email that gets sent out comes into the browser. So this one's just telling the staff that someone has applied for a dog. And what we can then do is go back to the applications page. So this person now can see, okay, I've made some applications on a dog. What applications have I made? So usually you'd have a little smiley dog face here looking at you with their name, and you would you'd see a status, and there are multiple statuses which I'll show you in a bit. But what this is, it just communicates to the adopter where the application is at. And as you can see here, successful applicant means that this person was the successful applicant on this dog. But if you weren't successful and someone else was, then it would be status would be dog adopted. So then you would at least know, oh, okay, someone else got this dog. So what you can also do is just withdraw from an application. And if you withdrew by accident, you can let them know and they can reinstate your application, and you can remove it from the applications page. So pretty simple for an adopter. They just have a profile and their applications, and they can browse a dog, apply for a dog, and that's that. And then Devise also helps you out with these basic user settings, your email, name, password, etc., and deleting your account. So let's log out here, and let's log in as staff. Okay, now let's log in as staff so we can see the other side of the application. So staff have basically 2 pages of interest. They have their dogs, so they can perform all of the CRUD actions on a particular dog, and they can review applications. So if they review applications, it just looks like this. And you're probably saying, oh, the UI here is pretty bare bones, and you're right, it is. This is an MVP. I'm not a product designer, and believe me, it was a lot of work to get to this stage, and to spend more time with design and refining that. It would have pushed the launch date of this by weeks or months even. So, you know, there's that fine line between finding what's good enough and getting it out there so that it's providing value, and going too far and you know, delaying things and trying to perfect things. I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to these kind of things. I'd rather have something out there and working, and then, you know, finding what works, what doesn't, and fix it. Anyway, so this is what an adopter, this is what a staff sees. They can see all the applications, and they can filter by dog name. You know, you imagine if you have 15, 20 dogs with different applications, it'd be nice to be able to filter them. So there's only one application per dog here. So this is this is one dog, this is another dog, and so on. And what the staff can do is they can look at the adopter profile of that applicant, see what the details are, and they can also edit the application. They can come in and they can change the status. So you can see status can be awaiting review, under review, adoption pending, withdrawn, or successful applicant. And staff can also make notes and save notes, and then when they come back they can see those notes later. If you want to make the successful applicant, you set the status to successful applicant, and then you can create an adoption. If I create adoption, there's an alert just saying you're sure, because there is no reverting that. You say OK, and dog successfully adopted, so that dog now belongs to Joe. So here's a good example of where Joe withdrew from an application and removed it from their list of applications. So the staff can actually come in and edit this, and they see this button here, oh, reinstate application, and there's just a little dialog box telling you what that is. So you can actually reinstate this, set a new status to under review, save, and now that's changed the status, and now Joe can log back in on their account and see this application again in their application dashboard. So it's a simple feature there in case somebody, you know, accidentally withdraws and removes the application. That's about the bare bones of it. So for staff, they see our dogs here. So staff can perform CRUD actions on the dogs that belong to their organization, right? So CRUD being create, read, update, delete. And they can filter this page by adoption status or by name. They can create a dog here, and if we look at a dog, we see usually again there will be pictures here, but they can edit the dog, and here's the form to edit, and they can upload images. Then what they can also do is set a dog to pause. So in this dog right here, applications are currently active, meaning that you can apply to this dog. However, if you want to pause the applications, you can, and you can choose a reason why. So, for example, some dogs are going through basic checkovers, health checkovers. They're not quite ready for adoption yet. Or pause until further notice would be you've had so many applications on a given dog, so you don't need to receive any more. So you can choose a fitting reason for that. So if we say opening soon for this case, say applications are now paused, and that's for dog 3. So for dog 3 here, if you were an adopter, you'd come in and you'd see, okay, applications are opening soon. Okay, and for those of you who are interested in knowing what the tables and models look like in their associations, here's just a super simple Lucid app rendering of what they look like. So here we have device users, and all that's looking after is first name, last name, email, and password. Okay, and then every time a user signs up, they're either going to be a staff account or an adopter account. And most of the time, people are going to be an adopter account. So these belong to user. And each adopter account has an adopter profile. And they also have many applications on dogs. So if you're a user and you sign up as a staff, then the staff account belongs to the user, but it also belongs to an organization. And then each dog also belongs to an organization. And those staff under a given organization can perform CRUD on the dogs under that organization, but they cannot perform CRUD on dogs under other organizations. And then each dog and adopter application has an adoption. So that's that kind of connection between the two halves of this application. There's also a user admin table as well, or admin user table for the active admin gem, and I'll show you what that does in a second. But basically what I'd like to iterate here is that this application designed in a way that it will allow multiple organizations to register on this application and manage their own dogs and manage their own staff. But adopters would see all of the dogs of all organizations, right? But all of the functionality that, like mailers going out to staff and the updating of dogs, is all done by just the staff under a given organization. So really this thing could scale up much larger than just one single organization that it is right now. And it's much easier to build it this way now so that it is scalable than come back to the code base in the future when you're trying to scale and change things around. So one thing I would like to show you is the active admin. And this is active admin. It's a super simple dashboard, and basically what it is a gem that allows developers to have an admin dashboard without having to develop it. And I've seen mixed reviews of active admin online. I think it suits the purpose here. It's very simple, and what I need it for is very simple, though when you start getting more complex in your requirements from active admin, it can be a little tricky and a little finicky. And one thing that I did find, which was a bit of a shock yesterday, I pushed the active admin gem and the changes I've made to production yesterday, and then I went onto the production website just to have a look, and I saw that all the styles had changed. So you could no longer read the hero message, all the buttons looked funky, and it was just like, you know, one of those shocks where you think, oh shit, I've broken production. And what I found out was that active admin has a CSS file, and that was being stored under app assets style sheets. So that gets compiled with all of the CSS and sent to the client. But you don't want that, because that CSS overrides the CSS that I'm using in Bootstrap to style the website. So I found a quick fix, thank you Stack Overflow, to move that style sheet down into vendor app asset style sheet. So that only gets retrieved when it's used. So that fixed the problem, but just note to anyone who wants to use active admin for the first time that that might happen. So what I have here on the dashboard is some super basic statistics. I'm just playing around with it at this point, telling me how many staff accounts, adopter accounts, unadopted dogs, and adoptions there are. This is all for development, so this data really doesn't mean anything. You can come in, you can look at the admin users. These are all people that have admin capabilities. You can look at any comments that have been made. And then what I use it for is staff accounts. So what happens is, when, like I said, when a user signs up, if they're signing up as staff, then they get an associated staff account that belongs to that user. But when they sign up by default, they are placed under a placeholder or default organization, which doesn't have any dogs or any functionality. And they're also not verified, so verified is set to false. And so all the authorization policy in the website doesn't allow them to do anything while they are verified false. So what I was doing before was having to sign in to Heroku command line interface and running the Rails console, and then just manually updating things that way. I didn't like that, because signing to the console always brings with a little risk that you might make a mistake or do something that you didn't intend to. So having it set here is nice and convenient. So now I can come into a particular account. So if somebody signed up for the first time, as a staff count, their verified would be no, and their organization would be a placeholder. I can just come in here now and I can edit this, you know, set them to verified or unverified, and then find the correct organization for them and update that. So that just keeps it super simple, so I'm not breaking stuff. What it also allows is to take me out of the equation, so someone else like Danielle, who runs the organization, can do this very simply and easily, just signing in as she would on the website. So that's about it. I guess the last thing I'd want to share is that If you're familiar with Jason Sweat from Code with Jason, he actually did review this code base briefly on his webinar a couple of weeks back, and there is a link to that video on YouTube in the repo here. And if you're fairly new to Rails, you've probably heard of him and read his blogs, listened to his podcast, or watched him on YouTube. So we've got some really good insights there, and that was a good experience for me. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check it out. And that's the website. Let me know what you think. I really would appreciate any feedback or comments. I know that there's lots of things that could be improved, but as an MVP, I'm very happy with it. And the feedback from the client, most importantly, and the users, the adopters, has been nothing but positive. Really, really good. So I'm very happy with that. And so far, so good. It's quite a successful project. In a future video, I'd like to go over the code and how it's set up. The test coverage is now pretty good. We've been working on that, all the contributors here. So it's at a place now where I'm pretty happy to start building new features. Okay, that's it. Hopefully this has been interesting, and I'll see you on a future video. Bye-bye.